Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. This is the Weekly United. It's that time of the week again where we wrap up the world in the week of Manchester United, or the week in the world of Manchester United rather, and find out just what has been going on. It's still transfer window time, even though the Premier League has reopened and restarted its fixtures. United's first fixture is this weekend against Crystal Palace. We know that. But there's been so much going on, from Sergio Reguilon, Jadon Sancho, Gareth Bale, all that kind of talk. There's been loads of things about the Glazers and Woodward out. That has been trending yet again on Twitter. Rio Ferdinand's been having a moan. It has all been going off. We've got to that stage of the summer again where it just becomes an absolute meltdown around everything concerning Manchester United. And that's simply because there's so much frustration built up there from over the years towards Ed Woodward and the way these guys do their transfer business. You know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to be fair to him, his transfers have been pretty decent. His targets have been decent as well. They've been the ones that have been pretty obvious and pretty, you know, definitely gonna improve our team. But he's yet to get the targets that he wants. And we weren't expecting a Chelsea-style summer this summer. We were expecting 2, 3, maybe 4 if we were lucky signings, just to bolster those positions that we needed. We knew Jadon Sancho was the main man. We've known that for 12, 18 months. But yet here we are with our first game a couple of days away, with the transfer window to close in a couple of weeks, and we still don't know what our squad's going to look like. That must be frustrating for the manager. But as I was saying, let's get stuck into this. Before we do, make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, all that stuff. And as I was saying, we've finally had a few rumours put to bed this week. Gareth Bale to Tottenham. He got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, and the last details are to be sorted, shared with Real Madrid, and Gareth will fly to London tomorrow. He'll complete medicals and join Tottenham on a 1-year loan, and Mourinho has approved the deal. Reguilon is expected for tomorrow too. Now it looks like here that Tottenham Hotspur have bent over on the Sergio Reguilon deal, taken a buyback clause which is just over the fee that they're paying for the player, so that they can get some favourable dealings in this Gareth Bale deal in terms of a wage share and those kind of things. And to be totally honest with you, I'm glad Manchester United have moved away from potentially even signing these players. There was reports earlier in the week that we were interested in Bale. That was rubbish straight away from those close to Manchester United. Obviously, we were interested in Sergio Reguilon, but we didn't want to go ahead with that because of the buyback clause. And despite the lack of action from United, which I am frustrated about, I'm not frustrated about these signings at all. And that's what seems to happen. People get caught up in the rumours linking us with Gareth Bale and Reguilon, who would have been a great bonus for us, by the way, because, you know, we need competition at that left-back spot. And because they're so angry that we haven't done the Sancho deal, for example, they'll get angrier about these things. But Gareth Bale was never a sensible deal, in my opinion, paying 300 grand a week for a player who is not motivated and you know, he's not been doing anything for 2 years. And Sergio Reguilon, who clearly wants to be at Real Madrid, clearly sees his future there. You know, I don't see that as a deal United should be getting into. We're not a small club. We're really not a small club. Another story which has been put to bed this week as well is the Thiago Alcantara story. Now, it pretty much went as it would, as I said it would. United, we might be interested in him because he's a fantastic talent and he's a great player and worth that €30 million fee, but United weren't going to sign him. He was destined for Liverpool. He was simply waiting for Liverpool to be able to stump up the fee for him, which is bizarre considering they've just won the Premier League and the Champions League and they've struggled to pay the €30 million. But they have now done that, and Thiago Alcantara is destined for Liverpool. Fabrizio Romano, though, did update and say Man United did not make an offer to Bayern Munich for Thiago Alcantara and only held talks with his agent. No progress was made on the deal after signing Van der Beek. So it looks like that could have been an alternative for Donny van der Beek, because obviously in terms of balance in the midfield, I think Donny van der Beek's a great signing, and he'll do really well for us. But in terms of balance, Thiago, you know, he's more suited to that deeper role. Now, obviously, Van der Beek can play 6. Edwin van der Sar said similar this week, but you know what I mean. But going for Donny van der Beek made sense. It was clear Thiago was destined for Liverpool, and he was holding out for that move. And United shifted their attention elsewhere and got Donny van der Beek in. For I think these two are the bargains of the summer. I think Thiago at €30 million is the bargain of the summer. And I think Van der Beek at £36 million, that's a bargain as well, especially when you take into consideration his age. League Cup news, the game against the Championship side Luton has been drawn and will take place at Kenilworth Road on the 22nd of September. So next week, Manchester United will play in the Carabao Cup or the League Cup or whatever it's called these days. It's an 8:15 kickoff in the UK, and it will be broadcast live on Sky Sports. And talking about the Carabao Cup, Marcus Rashford's goal in the Carabao Cup last season against Chelsea has won Manchester United's goal of the year. Thoroughly deserved as well, I've got to say. It was up there. My vote went to Anthony Martial's goal against Watford. I think that was the goal that really took my breath away this year. Like, just the skill and everything and the finish. But this was an amazing goal as well. Away from home, in front of the United away fans. It was a fantastic strike and got us through in the Cup. So well done to Marcus Rashford for his goal of the season. Hopefully we'll be seeing a few goals against Luton in the same competition next week. Talking about academy players or players that have come through the academy, AdamMcKola has been promoted to the first team squad indefinitely. Big talent, obviously. And at centre-half, he might get an opportunity this season. There's rumours Smalling, Jones, Rojo all going to leave the club. That would leave us with Maguire, Lindelof, Beek, Tuanzebe. Manchester United no closer to signing a centre-half. AdamMcKola is massively talented and he could possibly push through and get an opportunity in that first team. So it's great news for him to be brought into that first team squad. Now, if we do get rid of Smalling, Jones and Rojo, I still feel we need one more. Beek and Axel Tuanzebe, their injury records haven't been great, especially Tuanzebe last season. And AdamMcKola, if you get a few injuries, you don't want to pile all the pressure on this young lad. Even though sometimes pressure makes diamonds, as we've seen with the likes of Marcus Rashford, but you don't want to be forcing AdamMcKola into the first team squad. Imagine a big Champions League game or something, we got a few, and it goes badly for him. Your career could be over from there. So you want to see him being brought into the team slowly, being settled in slowly, and not being forced in under pressurised situations. Now, I mentioned this earlier. Van der Sar's been talking about Donny van de Beek, saying he can play in different positions in midfield, a 6, an 8, or a 10. Great eye for a goal, technique is brilliant, and he can go box to box. And I remember when I was saying similar things about Donny van de Beek potentially playing in that 6th position for United. Although he's not he's naturally better in 8 or 10, he has to be able to occupy other positions because he's not first choice in 10, he's not first choice in 8. Pogba and Bruno or that. Now, it's a long season. Sometimes he'll play 8, sometimes he'll play 10, sometimes we'll play 2 8s in a 4-2-3-1. But when we need a 6 sometimes, I don't see why Donny van de Beek can't do that role. He has the intelligence, he has the passing ability, he has the awareness, everything. And when Michael Carrick came in, he wasn't a like and like replacement for Roy Keane. Like, people the other day were saying, wow, he's not Kante, he's not Matic. Of course he's not those guys, but you can fulfill that position in a different way. And especially when United have 60% possession at home in most games, and Harry Maguire and your centre-halves are playing almost from the halfway line. There's no reason why you can't do that. So it's great to see we've brought in a midfielder who has that diversity in his game and can play in various positions, because it's exactly what is needed. Now, Rio Ferdinand has been talking, and he said Sancho was talked about months ago and it's still not done. He's getting frustrated. United fans are getting frustrated. And obviously, I can see why. We've seen Glazer out, Woodward out trending this week. Now, what frustrates me about that is it trends when our transfer windows don't go right. It should trend when we're winning. It should trend at all times. You should always be anti-Glazer. You should always be against the ownership at this club, because they've absolutely fucked the club, and they've been doing so since 2005. The only reason we managed to get away with it between 2005 and 2013 was because we had the greatest manager of all time in Sir Alex Ferguson. But if you even think back to his years at the club, when he was dealing with the competition from Chelsea, when he had to deal with the competition from City that eventually came in, yes, at times we were spending £30 million on a player. And Rio and Rooney were brought in before the Glazers, by the way. But yes, we were spending occasionally £30 million on Berbatov, or, have a summer like 07 where we brought in Hargreaves and Nani and Anderson and all that. But there was many years where we weren't competing with these teams. We simply weren't. When you think of the likes of Essie and Robben and all those kind of players, Fergie wanted a lot of them. Now, he covered for them guys with the no value in the market situation. But also, this decline would have come sooner if we didn't have Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, after Sir Alex Ferguson left, they tried to chuck money at it. They tried to chuck money at it. But ultimately, it didn't work. Now we're trying to go a different way under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and you can see the vision that he has and the plans that he has and the kind of players that he wants to bring in. But any manager here is going to be hamstrung by the owners, by Ed Woodward. Fergie made them look good, like they were owners that could get teams to win trophies and the big trophies. But ultimately, they're not interested in that. They're not interested in that. You've seen when we get Champions League football, they stop investing as much as they did. When we're out of the Champions League spots, they start investing a little bit more. We saw the same thing happen to Jose Mourinho. Now, by the end of his time, there was no saving him. But ultimately, you know, there were things that happened that led to that the summer before that were caused by the owners and by Ed Woodward not doing the business. That it was clear we needed a centre half. We never got it. So they're doing it again. But we'll probably still get Sancho this summer. And they still deserve criticism. I still want to see those hashtags trending after that, or when we sign players or whatever. Don't stop, or don't just start because you never got what you want in the transfer market. Like I said earlier, like Sergio Reguilon not coming to United, that's a sensible decision. We don't want a player with a buyback clause in there to Real Madrid. Not getting Gareth Bale, sensible decision. But Ollie's wanted Jadon Sancho for 18 months. You know, he's wanted Jadon Sancho for 18 months. It's been clear how much money Dortmund want for him, and we failed to be able to do a deal. That's embarrassing, and that's where the frustration should come from. Like that, Ollie hasn't actually got his players. All we were expecting for this summer was Sancho, a centre half, and a midfielder. We got the midfielder. We're still waiting on Sancho. We're still waiting on a centre half maybe, and even the deals that we want to get out, apart from Sanchez, they're all here. So you can, you know, have some sympathy for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there. Any manager is going to be in the same position. And there's some that are saying, oh, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should come out and say, don't be so ridiculous. Jose backed them and praised them. Fergie did the same, as much as we hated it. An employee is not going to attack their employers. It don't make sense. What is Ole going to gain out of that? They're not going to support him more financially. They're not going to support him more, you know, with support, like, maybe he's of the opinion that I'm going to try and fix this from the inside. If you really want to know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's opinion on the Glazers, look at his opinions on them before he was manager. And those are his true opinions. Now he's just an employee at the club. I've seen people do fan cams with us and get sacked after from a steward's role, anything, selling hot dogs, whatever. So it's what they do with it. It's going to happen. But he has to try and keep him on side because he needs to hopefully try and move the club in the right direction. Talking about Sancho, there's been other reports that Solskjaer has recently had a conversation with Jadon Sancho. Ole has told Jadon that he believes the transfer to Man United will soon be completed. Please, God, let this be completed soon. Please. It's dragged on. I don't even want to talk about it no more. Everyone knows I want Sancho at United. Everyone knows Sancho wants to be at United. We're just waiting for this deal to be done. Anyway, guys, that has been the world in the week of Man United, or the week in the world of Man United. One day I'll get that right. But make sure you're keeping it locked. Like and comment and share and subscribe and get all your thoughts in the comments below. For now, I'm out of here.